This is my sketchbook video. I'm gonna attempt to, you can see my head. I'm going to show you my sketchbook. And this one is from May of 23 through about January of 24. And this is really kind of a test to see if I can do this using Zoom. So we'll see how it goes. But I'm gonna give you commentary and hopefully it won't be boring. And I know there's a limited time on this, so we're gonna keep it within the time bounds of Zoom, which I think is about half an hour. Okay, so again, I'm using Artist Loft, which is a hardback watercolor book. I think it's about 8.5 by 11. Honestly, I would like a larger watercolor book, probably 9 by 12 or 11 by 18. So I could do bigger paintings, but I like the hardback because when you close it, it clamps down on the art and that keeps it a little bit flatter. Because truth is, if you keep it in a book, you don't generally tape the watercolor paper to a surface. And that's what keeps it from buckling up. So the paper will buckle in this when you use it. And I started using washi tape to outline each paper as I go. And that kind of gives me a nice border and it helps me with social media. I can crop into it evenly, even though the inside outline around the artwork may not be exact. If I give it the white border, there's even cropping and then I can have the wonky outline. Anyway, so I use Artist Loft, which is a Michael's craft store item. So it's lesser expensive. And it's also a good product. I find it pretty good. The only thing is, like I said, I want a larger one, but they don't have the larger hardback. I haven't found a larger hardback. Even Canson has some hardback, but they're not big enough. Okay, and I thought, you know what, maybe I'll make my own hardback down the road, but right now I haven't found a good hardback watercolor scrapbook or sketchbook. Okay, so the first one, this is kind of funny. It actually is the last one I did in the book because it was a blank paper and I skipped it for the next one. So I went back in. This is January 24th of, well, let me look. January 16th of 24. And it is, it's gonna be really hard to do this. I'm gonna have to light adjust, but whatever it is, it's a test. So this one is kind of like the symbol of Pisces, two fish swimming in apparently opposite directions. This was a test for a bigger painting that I did in acrylic. And this is a watercolor of basically, if you look at a circle from above and fish are swimming in a circle, if you look right at the middle, they appear to be going in opposite directions, but from above, they're actually swimming in a circle, which is why the larger painting in acrylic is called Swimming in the Same Direction. Anyway, this is a watercolor test. I use crayon and watercolor, maybe some gouache in there, and no colored pencil this time. And then this was just literally a goofy doodle that I thought I would do, and I haven't painted it yet. I just wanted to create something weird and, you know, whatever came out of my head at the time. Nothing spectacular, and it's just kind of a silly, goofy doodle. Then I went on to create this, which is kind of when I'm painting, every time I start a new painting, it's just whatever mood I'm in. And I've done some calligraphy or, you know, it's just like handwriting that can look like calligraphy. And then I wanted to do something that was patternable. And so I could take this image and make it into a mass produced pattern. So that's what this is all about. And then one of my favorite things to do is flowers. And I thought I'd add some fruit in because I really like doing cherries. But yeah, so we have an orange, strawberry, some plums, and cherry. And I think a green apple and a banana. Anyway, and that was done May 22nd of 23. And then see, this is an example of the washi that I use around the edge. And I never took it off because I kind of liked how it looked with the colors. A lot of times the watercolors don't really vibrate, they're not really vibrant or bright. And I'll go back in with colored pencil and enhance them. I don't think I did that with this one. I left it somewhat muted. And it was just, I wanted to come up with something that was more like a still life. And I like the white background, so I kept it that way. I've got a spider, a cat, 2 cups and a teapot and some flowers. I don't think I looked at any images to draw this. I think that's all out of my head. So, and then I did on the back of it, I can't really see there. Show it a little bit. There we go. A sketch of lettering, which I really liked, but it was the back side of a watercolor, so this side isn't really good for watercoloring. So I redid it and did watercolor it, and this is what I did. So I just kind of hand lettered it. You can see it says hand lettered there and just have a nice font all out of my head. I've done a lot of signage in my time, and so I'm able to do kind of many different types of lettering, and I've created fonts. So anyway, this one is, again, it's just kind of an exploration of mixed media and things that are near and dear to me, which is nature and the country and the moon. I've got a bird sitting on the little chimney spout, and then I used paper. This is like a scrapbook paper, I think. And then I added windows and a wash in brown for a door. The background here, I just added watercolor and let it drip. I held the paper up, and including the sky, I did the pink on the sky. And then I let the watercolor drip. And when it was done, I went back in and added some darker tree stumps and trunks, tree trunks. And then I took a little Posca pen and added teeny little dots for the highlights in the tree leaves. And I added some more dots down here just for effect, and then gray for the sidewalk. And I did that one on June 13th of 23. And then again, like I said, I really like lettering, and so I did some lettering, and this one is kind of based on the illuminated texts that are ancient from like biblical times, or monks used to pull up and illuminate all sorts of texts, and it was just so beautiful. And you can't really see it per se, but there is a gold outline around the letter. So I did S for my name. And I've got, hearts are kind of an image I like to put into most of my work if I can. It's kind of one of those little things, like I always like to include at least one heart in my art. And then I did H. I should do the rest of my name, Elley. If I do E and I do L, then I only have to do it once. But I did the same kind of thing with this. And it's just kind of like a ombre watercolor effect that I was playing with. And then the background. And really, my sketchbooks started in early COVID days. I think 2019, I started doing sketchbooks, and it really became kind of a creative savior for me. So now I'm looking at my stack of sketchbooks. I have about 20 sketchbooks, so there'll probably be a lot of these videos coming out soon. And it helps me post some kind of content to YouTube, because I make a lot of videos that I never post. So I need to really get on that. This one, obviously a butterfly. I was playing around with layering and starting, well, I've done crayons for a while, but the crayon effect, I'd love to just scribble crayon. And then let's see how the watercolor, it acts as a resist. And so then the watercolor, is resistant in the areas with the crayon. And then afterwards, I just kind of doodled some pen. I've got a little heart up here, and it's just a butterfly. I'm not really good with butterflies, so in the future, I really want to work more on maybe looking at actual photos of butterflies and refining my ability to do it, because the veins in the wings always screw me up. I just don't get the veins in the wings. So anyway, was just doodling some kind of like, a magazine, or what is it, a catalog that has models for clothing, and I just doodled a little bit of that on this page. And this was a doodle of Edgar Allan Poe, that I wanted to do for a painting, and I will bring that over and show you because it's one of my favorites. So I did an acrylic of this in an actual painting, so that's the finished piece. Obviously, he did the poem Raven, the Raven. So I've got the raven blending into his hair. And then this is a jeweled necklace because this is his wife, Virginia. And it's in like, the word amulet came to mind, but it's just a cameo. And he just cared so much for her, so I put the jewels there. And I just really love how this turned out because when you Google photos of Edgar Allan Poe, there's a limited quantity, and most of them look like this. So I wanted him to look rather sad, but every time I look at it, he looks like he's smirking to me. I really wanted it to be very sad because he had a sad face. But I actually talked to him a lot, and I really like him. He keeps me company. So really, this doodle wasn't meant to be much more than just the idea and getting it out and kind of an idea on paper. Again, working a little bit with flowers and pattern, colorways or color palettes, trying to come up with something that I really like. And everything's experimental. That's what my sketchbooks are for. They're just experimenting and learning and growing. And I did this piece. Washi was around the edge, and then I wanted to put a piece through there just to see what would happen if I split up the picture. And so I did just this wash for clouds and a green wash, and then water at the bottom. And I used my Posca pens because I really love using the Posca pens. You can see I still have some washi left here on the border, but anyway, that was not dated. And then right after that, again, there's kind of a theme or a collection of paintings that I do that are based on watercolors over crayon and gouache over crayon with some extra markings or Posca pen or colored pencil or chalk or anything that I happen to have that I want to add. And this is one of them. And so I just threw in some elements of things that, just randomly run through my head. And I've got a feather, a hot air balloon, some hearts, and just seeing how the watercolor and the crayon mix with each other. And I just love the colors. So I work a lot with bright colors. Again, here's another one, similar idea, just throwing color down over crayon. And then I use the Posca pens. I do a lot of dots, polka dots, and hashtags or stripes. And so this one actually, I'm looking at it upside down, but I can see it on the screen right side up. It's kind of like a roller coaster effect. And I'm not sure, I may have another one similar, but I think that was kind of the theme or the idea of this was, here's a sun, here's the sky, and then the roller coaster, amusement park kind of feel to the whole thing. And very abstract, but still a lot of fun. And then another one, I just happened to decide to grid it out and add something more geometric, geometric to it. Let me cover that light. There we go. And so it looks a little bit more structured in a way, but then I've got a bunny rabbit, again, just random things, a bunny rabbit, a star. I'm just really, I have been for years now since COVID working on abstract ideas because I'm very, like, as I learned painting and as I grew as an artist, I always felt like the artists who could draw realistically were taken more seriously. And so I really honed my skills in realism and light and contrast and shading. And then I realized I was too restricted in that, and I wanted to explore just random abstract painting. And so about 5 years ago, I started really exploring that and still kind of on a quest. And the big thing that I've learned from it is how paint and different media interact with each other. So you'll see a lot of different media in what I'm showing you throughout the course of this. Okay, this is, again, I think I'm fixated on Pisces, don't you? So again, another Pisces imagery. I really love koi fish. I love how their fins flow in the water. So I did a little white crayon outline of two koi and then some hearts, of course, and the eyes. I really love the eyes. The painting that I did based on the first one, I'll remind you what that was. This one really has amazing eyes to it. And if I edit this at all, I'll add in that image, but probably at the end, not in the body of this video, because I'm just gonna try and do a one and done with it. So anyway, another thing I really like to work with is doing colors and how they interact. And of course, this is more analogous colors. So you've got red, purple, and blue. And on the color wheel, those are the colors that are next to each other. And so I've used those in this. I really love this eye. I love how the watercolor kind of stayed away from that center section, giving it dimension. And then I have the highlights in the eye. It just looks really realistic to me. I love that when I do my eyes. I realized that I haven't done a lot of rainbows. I really love rainbows because they include all the colors and, well, all the colors we can see anyway. And so I did a little rainbow over the water kind of image with this one, and we're getting into October of 2023. Again, working with how watercolor blends and bleeds, and green at the bottom and then purples and blues for the night sky with some stars in it. And of course, I love polka dots, a lot of polka dot action. And then the flowers are just to feel the flowers. Again, butterflies. I have recurring themes, butterflies, rainbows, lollipops, etc. But yeah, I also like a lot of black and white stuff, so I include that occasionally. The black and white contrast, one of my favorites. I added words. I wanted to start working with words. I've got black pen. I think it's a gel pen. I scribbled all over it, and then I've got my signature in there. And I write random words, or sometimes I write poetry, or sometimes I write train of thought, or poems, or storylines, or paragraphs from books, or whatever. I put it in there. And then stars. Again, I liked how the heart washi tape looked with what was inside, so I left it. And yeah, just a mixture. I've got some gold paint on it at the bottom. You can see it kind of reflecting there. And it's a circle, but it can be a sun. I do a lot of planets or suns, moons, stars kind of thing. This one, again, working with fonts and text and seeing how that works with the overall imagery. A lot of my art, even though I do it for fun, I have an idea that someday I will turn it into paintings or posters or, greeting cards. And I do have a lot of that kind of thing on my website. If you go to shelleyoverton.art, you'll see links to my website. And maybe if you're interested, also I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram. You can find links there in the bio. And this one, I did a black paper with roses on it in the past, probably 6 or 7 years ago. And I really like just randomly making circles, concentric circles or scribbles, and turning them into roses because it's so easy to do. It's just like I can even show you. Here's a black gel pen. When you go in, you just kind of go like this, and then you've got a rose, and it's just a scribble. See, just a scribble. So it's really easy to create a rose from above by doing that, and then just adding the shading and highlight and some extra leaves. And that's what this is. So I think I used watercolor and some white gouache for the highlights. And I think maybe a rose colored gel pen for some squiggles in there. And there's a little, looks like an insect or something down there. And then finally, this is the last piece. This is a mermaid, and I wonder if it was in May, no, October, because I've done mermaid before, which is the month of May. Every day you paint a different mermaid, but I am also fixated with mermaids. I just love the fishtail and the cute little clamshells for the bra. And she's got another little like hermit crab in her hand in the moon with the dragonflies above. So it's kind of an Ariel type thing, little mermaid thing, and then the crab. But I really love the illustrative quality to this painting, and how the border, it just kind of glows around the moon. This is one of my favorites in the book, and probably should put that up on my website, but that is all, and that ends October 30th, 2023, which is a year ago, a few days ago. And that's my sketchbook for the latter half of 2023. Thank you for joining me.